You're not allowed to be annoyed by people constantly talking over each other.
Yeah.
Which is good, because then people who listen to this probably aren't annoyed either.
Yeah. Well, I bet we have some
Robert Altman
fans.
I don't know that we've ever talked
of
over each other.
podcasts.
So
his first movie was Back to the Future. His second
Robert
movie,
Altman? No,
No.
he didn't make that movie, Kevin.
Huey Lewis.
Yeah, Robert Altman, he did not make Back to the Future.
Right.
He made Back to the Future 3, but he did not make Back to the Future.
Right. He made it all the way back in 1963. That's the real brilliance of those films. They made the third one first and sat on it forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, he wasn't in that movie, Kevin. Are you giving him credit for his song, I think, Power of Love appearing in?
Brian, you're about to get flamed in IRL.
That's good.
No, he is in that movie. He's he's judging the band competition at the beginning.
Yes, and Marty McFly plays the ripping lead during the song Power of Love, and Huey Lewis gets a megaphone and says, "It's just too darn loud." And then we all laugh as audience members because we're like,
You guys,
Huey Lewis saying that music is too loud? Why, he's the king of loud music.
You guys
That's
are
why
thinking,
it's hilarious.
You guys are thinking of old Ray Liotta. That was Ray Liotta doing that. I didn't know he was in the movie. Good for him. I didn't know that he was so recognizable that audiences were supposed to be aware that that's who it was.
In
Is he that?
1985, Huey Lewis is the biggest thing in music.
That doesn't mean you know what he looks like. I don't know what Madonna
He's
looks
on the
like.
cover of Sports.
That is the most meaningless statement you've made to me since I've known you. He's on the cover of Sports.
Not only that, we're supposed to know what he looks like, and we're supposed to know what he looks like dressed up as a nerd, and we're supposed to find it hilarious that such an aggressive, wild rock musician would declare aggressive, loud rock music way too loud.
Is he a rock musician? Didn't he cover Mother-in-Law? Isn't he?
Mother-in-law, mother-in-law. That is such a good song.
It's a great song.
You know, I mean, I didn't appreciate it as much until I got married, you know, but then you're like, yep.
I mean, doesn't he refer to his mother-in-law as the bride of Satan in that song? I mean, I think there's some very condemning remarks made about who did that song first.
I think it was Sonny and Cher.
That is not true.
That sounds right to me. I think that's correct.
Right.
Mother-in-law, mother of Cher.
I didn't know.
Remember that line?
Right. If those are the lyrics, then sure, you guys. I'm hoping that Mark won't let this stand. Yeah. That Mark can't allow this misattribution of a pretty good song, I think.
I do think that song is what paved way for all the stepmother, stepbrother incest porn that proliferates on Pornhub this day. That was the kernel there. Because isn't the implication that he's mad? The singer Sonny Bono is mad at Cher's mother and is going to get revenge on Cher by having sex with her when his mother-in-law gets her head stuck in a dryer.
Getting your head stuck in a dryer. I think that's the lyric that they dropped for the radio edit. So, but if you ever to see it performed live, you probably heard that.
Yeah. There's a whole verse about how it plays out.
Right.
And then there's another verse that got cut about how Cher walks in, catches them, and you know what? She just joins right in.
What else are you gonna do?
She's freaked out at first, but then she takes a beat and goes, You know what? You're doing it wrong. Let me show you how to do it. Right. Which it's racy. It's racy for 1968. It's racy for now.
Yeah. Well, that's why they were so groundbreaking.
But it is why that I'm trying to restart the PMRC, because I think that there should be digital warnings for children that are on all the thumbnails of little Spotify playlists and stuff like that.
Maybe just a voiceover of you before every song warning people.
How old are you?
That's right.
You listening to this now. How old are you? If you're under the age of 18, turn this off now. And then, I'll wait like a minute into the song and go like, if you continue to listen to this and you're under the age of 18, No, that's a big no.
Right,
I know
Russ.
you think I know you think you're real clever, like you outsmarted the system. But guess what? I know, God knows, and guess who else knows? Bill Gates, because he's tracking this. And the three of us will tell your parents. And then, it keeps going. And then at the end of the song, I'll go like, oh, you really figured it out. You think you outsmarted it. Well, guess what? Listening to this song is now on your permanent record.
Damn. That's just cold-blooded.
I just like the idea of you becoming the most hated person in America by ruining every song ever made by...
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have to do that for like art, like good artists. I wouldn't have to do that for like Imagine Dragons or Maroon 5. I just have to do it for, real little Nas X and stuff like that. I would have to do it.
Potty mouths.
Potty mouth, yeah. For the potty mouth artists. I'm thinking Metallica, probably.
Yep.
Have you seen their hair?
Druggies. Well, I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Aerosmith, stuff that kids like Aerosmith.
This does sound like the PMRC to me. This is starting to sound very authentic.
That's what kids listen to.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wasn't your biggest problem with Aerosmith that they spell arrow wrong?
Do they?
Yeah,
it's just
like
a different way.
A-E-R-O.
Oh, but no, the name is in reference to a Aero coffee press, like the little things that you get coffee in and push down on there.
That's what I use here at my house.
So the band's all about making coffee.
Steven Tyler is a noted caffeine addict. He has a T-shirt that has the chemical symbol for caffeine, and then it says caffeine under it. And sometimes when he's doing an interview on TRL, like, recently when he's on TRL, he'll just point to it and go don't talk to me without my first cup of coffee or before I get my first scarf on.
Does he wear the scarves or just dance with the scarves? This is good. It is. I'm glad we found a new way to limit and narrow the potential audience for what we're doing by clearly demonstrating that we really haven't paid attention to much since 1994.
Talk about things that nobody cares. That's what we do. That's why the theme song. That's we're petitioning Aerosmith to do the new theme song.
That's right. You know what? I think they'll be okay with it because it will have almost no impact on their sales.
What are you talking? They would get a boost from this. Tens of records sold.
Thinking positive.
I think that the INS probably has broken a lot of stories, and it's just time we start breaking artists.
Like Quentin Tarantino in the 90s.
Way to keep it relevant. That's
why I'm here.
That's great.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys remember Alf? We talked about Alf recently.
I heard he keeps eating cats.
Mm-hmm. They couldn't make that show nowadays. You couldn't have a show about eating. No, sir. Could not make that show now.
The ASPCA.
Mm-hmm. And Willie kept the alien in a cage. What do you think that's in reference to?
But what is it in reference to?
It's in reference to the fact that we keep animals in cages and we shouldn't do that anymore. They should all be free range.
Right.
What about the ones that are already free range?
Those should actually get their citizenship.
So should snakes be able to vote? Yes or no?
Well, I mean, I would say that some of them do, and some of them are in the Democratic Party.
That's right.
Hillary's a lizard person.
Mm-hmm. Consider yourselves owned, libs, because that's what this is all about.
Oh, I forgot. Did I tell you guys that somebody commented on my friend's page and said that we need to stay out of politics?
Oh, we do?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what...
yeah, you did tell on his Instagram, right?
But we're the news, and I think we have to stay in politics. And speaking of the news...
This is where most people go for their politics.
Right.
Well, I think we're fair, and I also think that we're unbalanced.
Well, you should take that to Zanies.
Yeah, I know. It'll be a picture. Yeah.
With like an arrow, like the classic arrow through your head.
Oh, that could be that's the logo you've been working on.
I know.
Fair and unbalanced.
And my eyes are crossed.
I think Mike was hinting that it's time that we start discussing the news.
Oh, of course.
everybody get serious because
we all had our ties a little bit looser. We're doing this for people.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they're not watching, they can tell.
It's a sacred trust.
Straighten my tie. I'm going to tuck my shirt in a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure my cuff links are straight.
Wipe the thin remnant of cocaine from your upper lip.
Give me that piece of tissue. Now I'm licking it. And now I'm handing the tissue back.
Do not waste the cocaine.
Welcome to INS, the International News Service, your source for the most important weird news from across the globe. With news analyst Kevin Harrison, actor, comedian, and musician Mike Wiebe, and professional commentator Brian Camp. INS, the news you need.
Welcome to the International News Service. We're your hosts. I'm Kevin Harrison, along with...
I'm Brian. God damn it.
God damn it.
I'm
Brian.
This week, the role of Mickey Rooney will be played by
Brian Camp.
Andy Rooney.
God
damn it.
Damn it.
This episode is fucked. This episode is pure fuck.
I mean, Mickey Rooney from Boys Town?
Mickey Rourke?
Yeah. That doesn't work at all. That doesn't even make any sense.
All right. We're not starting over. We're using this. I'm Brian Camp.
Yeah. And I'm Mike Wiebe. And I'm the Mickey Rooney. Brian's the Andy Rooney.
Okay.
You're surly. I'm smiling precocious and want to get into Judy Garland's pants.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, they were married, so presumably.
Were they married?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not up on Hollywood trivia.
I don't think it's trivia know that the biggest stars in the world were married at one point.
How about it's trivial? Is that fair to say?
Pursuit?
God fucking damn it! Who's producing this? Mickey
and our producer.
Oh, Mark Ryan.
Hey guys.
There
you guys, I'm a half a Michelob Ultra in, so let's just say I'm gonna be. I take it back. I'm not gonna be the Mickey Rooney. I'm gonna be the Ed McMahon this episode.
I'm worried that there's gonna be nothing but Egg McMahons during this episode. Egg McMahon.
Yes.
Egg.
What is it? Egg McMahon.
I don't know. It's Egg McMahon. It's a very disappointing sandwich.
That's a sandwich that they had over at Cantor's Deli, in LA that Johnny and Ed and Doc Severinsen.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise would all go eat there. And that was just, kind of a very when you've made it in show business, you get a sandwich named for you or a salad, maybe. I'm talking to Chick-fil-A right now about doing a.
That's right. It's just you with a megaphone standing outside the Chick-fil-A screaming for them to name a sandwich after you. How's that going?
Well, I'm defacing all the billboards with the cows.
Oh, those cows! I don't know. I think we've talked about those cows.
Yeah, this is maybe the third time the cows have come up.
Well, because it's serious.
Well, we only know about 3 or 4 things, so of course it's going to come up.
Right? Maybe it's cows, big feet. I think we've established we know a lot about.
This show's all new, and it's also. Don't worry, listener. Don't tune out just yet. Mm-hmm. We're not strictly going to cover things that we've talked about. I'm not going to bring up my Doctor Strange collection again.
God damn it. God damn it.
Which ones do you have again?
It's like 2 minutes in, Mike. It's 2 minutes in.
I'm just, okay, let's move on.
This is what we fucking talked. This is exactly what we talked about. It's the very beginning, and you're already talking about Doctor Strange.
Our first story comes to us from the BBC.
Bad Boys Club.
Chaos ensued at the recent 2021 Mrs. Sri Lanka competition when winner Pushpika De Silva's crown was grabbed by the 2019 winner.
Mm.
The 2019 winner then declared Mrs. De Silva was ineligible because she was divorced, and then she placed the crown on the head of the runner-up. the pageant requires that all contestants must be married.
Okay, hold on. I'm trying to get this straight here. So it's 2020, 2021.
2021. This just happened.
2021. This woman goes up and she wins, and they're going to go put the crown on her head.
It's on her head.
It's on her head. And then the winner from what year?
From 2019, who I believe is the current Mrs. World.
Oh, that's bigger than Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah, that's
but they don't
twice as big.
Yeah.
If I had said Mrs. World, then you would have asked, well, why is she in Sri Lanka in 2021?
Miss World. Somebody kill me. I killed Kurt Cobain.
It wasn't Courtney Love. She's not Sri Lankan.
She is crazy. She's likely to do that kind of thing. You have to admit. Did you see her on the 1998 MTV Movie Awards? What she was wearing? Did you see that?
This is eerily consistent with... Go ahead.
With Courtney Love's behavior?
Yes, with her. What I can only imagine was irresponsible behavior.
Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. She tried to hire El Duce to kill Kurt Cobain. And now she's at it again. All these years later. That's what they do. They have a cooling off period. Okay.
That's right. It's the cycle.
She acts up. She does all this crazy shit. Cooling off period. She moves over to Sri Lanka to lie low. And here's what happens. She attacks. She ruins the Miss Sri Lanka contest.
Mm-hmm. Mrs. Sri Lanka.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Courtney was a Mrs. until she did what she did. Mm-hmm. And I don't even want to get into that story because that's a whole podcast unto itself.
It probably is.
So Courtney Love runs on stage, steals the crown, and she says, "You don't deserve this crown. I'm Miss World. When I wake up in my makeup, I'm going to put this crown on." Who is she going to put this crown on?
She puts it on the runner-up.
You don't deserve this because I'm going to put this on the runner-up. You don't deserve this because you got divorced.
Right.
Well, doesn't that not sound like jealousy? And so, that's
right.
That's that's very Courtney Love. That is 100% maybe the most Courtney Love thing that I've ever heard.
She only respects widows.
Yep.
So Mrs. De Silva walked off stage and said she went to the hospital to be treated for head injuries after the incident. But after an investigation, the organizers returned the prize to Mrs. De Silva after confirming she was merely separated from her husband and not actually divorced.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad they got to the bottom of that.
It doesn't say anywhere in the rules that a dog can't run for president. That's a classic,
That's classic
case. That holds up legally, right? Are you familiar with Sri Lankan pageant law?
Yeah, that's mostly what I practice.
I know you're part of you know a lot about pageant law here.
I mostly practice Sri Lankan pageant law, and it does in fact say that the contestants must be married, but it doesn't require them to be living with or in any way talking to their spouse.
I think it's unfortunate that as someone who's an alum of the pageant game with Little Misters, Mike, it's too bad that something that starts off so pure as a child pageant, wherein we judge children's ability to look like sexy adults, can turn into something so tawdry as this incident in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
It's too bad that.
Where can you tell me what I don't know if it's American or if it's like a hemisphere thing. Well, is there a where do those rules fall on the Big Misters?
Well, Big Misters hasn't been around since about the 50s. So there was some congressional things happening, and it just wasn't. I think it was ahead of its time.
Where does in the male beauty pageant side of it? How does that fall?
About if you have to be married or not?
If a similar situation were to happen here, say Kanye West runs on stage and says,
"Has Kanye murdered his wife?"
Well, no, but Kanye has a history of running on stage and disrupting things. So I could see Kanye West running on stage if, say, let's just say Brian Camp is on stage about to get awarded.
Sure.
And let's just say you were separated because you were putting so much time into your pageant career and not talking to your family. And what would happen in that scenario? Kanye West runs up, takes the thing away. Could you I mean, how's that work? Is it different? Is it the same?
I think if Brian hasn't signed the divorce papers, then he would get the award because he's still technically married. But the second that ink goes on the papers, Brian can't accept that award, and it automatically, under U.S. law, goes to Kanye.
Right. It's a great question, Mike. Tap has driven a wedge in a lot of relationships. And so this comes up more often than you would think, where a marriage relationship is on the rocks.
Well, that's why Gregory Hines had so many wives.
Yeah, famously. That's a lot of wives. There, you know what that click was, ladies and gentlemen? That was producer Mark Ryan turning off his audio.
He gets upset whenever Gregory Hines gets brought up because, well, that's how he lost his first wife.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Sparkle Shoes comes to town, and then guess who's eating microwave dinners alone and drinking a highball of T.W. Samuels.
Was that Gregory Hines or Mark?
It's Mark, obviously.
Okay.
Gregory Hines was never sad once in his life.
Maybe when he's dead, right? Maybe right before he died, he was sad.
No, he was in a flow. He was in a flow state. He was in a flow state, just like he was on stage all the time. A magic flow state of soft shoe, click toe, and side shuffle. Yep. And, the only people that ever, and it was that thing of like, the only people that were ever mad at Gregory Hines were the jilted husbands of broads that he stole. Right. And Billy Crystal.
Right. Well, yeah, Billy Crystal hated him.
Yeah. What was the movie they were in together?
Running Scared.
Oh, okay.
I won because I said it quicker.
Running Scared. I remember when they're roller skating, when they leave the job and they go out west to the coast.
Yeah.
And they're wearing the denim cutoff shorts and I think the t-shirts with maybe 2 fried eggs over where their pectorals are, I think was the scene.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wearing right now.
As a child, that never made sense to me. And it still is confusing.
It's a little confusing. It's also there. I think there's an ending scene where they're like swinging around in a stadium, like an enclosed stadium, and there's for some reason swinging around, and they have little like MAC-10 mini machine guns and they're shooting. Yeah. Because when you think action, you think Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines.
Right. Well, and also kind of maybe was that a forerunner for the first Jackie Chan Chris Tucker movie?
That's where they stole it from.
They stole that from Running Scared.
Jackie Chan was inspired by the athleticism of
Billy Crystal,
and that's why he got into action movies to begin with.
He wanted to remake City Slickers, I think, and then Hey, can we get on to the next story? This is I think we've.
So the next story comes to us from the New York Post. Siberia is a well-known hotspot for Yeti sightings. So a 2011 video purported to show a Yeti in the region. 2 years later, school children also claimed to have spotted the Yeti.
So school children and the governor both saw a Yeti.
A video showed a Yeti, and then school children also saw it. So the governor at the time of the area known as Kemerovo Oblast in southern Siberia stated, "People started coming, rushed to scour the forests. Of course, no one found the Yeti, but it attracted increased attention. So the area set up a Yeti Day, offered cash prizes to anyone who could prove the Yeti's existence, and the region even hosted an international Yeti conference with attention focused on a nearby cave that was supposedly a favorite haunt of the Yeti."
So they set up a Yeti Day?
Yeah.
In 2011?
Well, post 2000. It didn't say exactly when. I think it was an annual event.
Is it before the Oklahoma congressman, who I'm now starting to think might be a Russian spy, tried to set up his Bigfoot stuff?
So the congressman mentioned in episode 2, and then I think episode 8, I believe.
Jesus
Both
Christ.
after 2011, so...
Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, this was after...
Which is after, if I'm not mistaken, it's also after 9/11.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that they sent their Yetis over here?
Jesus fucking Christ.
Well, we'll get to that, because that does tie into this story, actually.
I think you've clearly worried Mike. He's not going to sleep now.
Well, okay, so A local academic who claimed that 30 Yetis inhabited the area.
Wait, what was his name? What was his name? Because I might know him.
That's right.
I didn't say, just said a local academic in the story.
A local academic.
Yeah.
That is...
A local academic who claimed that 30 Yetis inhabited the area even set up a special institute at the Kemerovo State University. However, when a genetics study recently conducted by Oxford University revealed that Yeti hair collected in the area actually came from a horse, a raccoon, and a bear, the former governor admitted that he'd ordered a tall bureaucrat to wear an abominable snowman outfit so he could be spotted in the bushes to drum up tourism for the region. Despite the publicity stunt, the former governor said he does not rule out that the mythical creature could exist.
That's just a good governor. I mean...
Yeah, that is a fun guy.
That's a fun guy, yeah.
I wish that our governor would do a little bit more cryptid faking and a little bit less hurt the fucking homeless, you know?
Well, maybe he could do like a combination thing. He could dress the homeless up as cryptids.
Oh, wow.
People might take an interest.
If we're spitballing, that is not a bad idea.
If there's a wage that goes with it, I think I could get behind that plan.
That's right. You don't think that's exploitive at all?
So I've got a picture of the Yeti costume here. I want you to see.
Oh,
yeah, that's the governor in the middle there, right next to the Yeti.
Oh, that is. Have you ever seen the banana splits? Because that is what that Yeti looks like. So who's the governor? The guy in the middle?
Yeah, the former governor is the guy in the middle.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, good for him.
It's how I would describe this is a man dressed in one of the banana splits outfits. He's it's a mix of Flegel and Globo. Nice. And then to the next of him, you have two men who have never not been at least buzzed. Like in their adult years, there's never been a time that there hasn't been at least a good buzz going on.
Half a bottle of vodka in their liver.
Yeah.
I see it, Mike, and they look like two people from an 80s movie who are responding to a hostage situation at the airport they work at.
Both of them have noses that
indeed
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer was based on. They just glow because they're so drunk.
Did you notice that the Yeti has one comic tooth?
Yeah, there's one comic tooth, and the hair looks I mean, to say that costume's never been washed is to be...
No, it has been vomited in. There is vomit on the inside of that mask.
Like, not only was it washed, like, it's real fur, and whatever animal it was taken from, they didn't, like, dry it or clean it. They didn't, like, tan it. They just, like, ripped it off, started sewing it together with a couple other animals.
Well, do we think that that's made out of horse, raccoon, and bear? Is that...
Yes, that is 100% horse, raccoon, and bear.
There are fur-loving people, the Siberians.
And it's white, and those animals aren't white, but they were pissed on by a bunch of people and then just left out in the sun, so the fur kind of turned white through a bleach process, a very naturalized bleaching process.
The famous bleaching effects of Russian urine. That's right.
But, I will say, guys, that is not to say that Yeti aren't frightening.
Is Yeti
creatures.
the plural of Yeti?
The article did it both ways, so I wasn't 100% sure.
Well, they clearly don't know what they're talking about because they seem to indicate that Yetis aren't real. I'm asking Mike. Mike's I think we've established he's the expert on abominable creatures.
Like, how fun. Yeah, we're having Yeti Day. We got a guy dressed up and we're all going to get shit-faced and we are going to piss our pants. And then it's part of the tradition that we wear those pants the next day, that we never change out of them. And that we go outside in the frozen Russian tundra and that our piss freezes solid. And then we come back inside and then there's a drinking contest. And at the end of the drinking contest, we beat someone with piss-frozen pants. And that's all fun and good. That's all good fun. But the thing is, let's just say that there are Yeti. And let's just say you were to get caught by one. Do you know how cold it is, though? but when you get your pants ripped off and those Yetis hold you up to mock your genitals and laugh at your genitals, do you know how much smaller things are going to be because of that coldness? You're that much smaller. And then that Yeti's holding up and, laughing at you. They just think it's so funny. And all these, Eastern European wildlife, all these drunken. And the thing is, over here, it's animals that are laughing. But over there, the whole village, they're going to bring the whole village out. It's just
the
a
whole
bunch
village
of
comes out, sure.
bearded vodka men and big old Russian ladies that are honestly less attractive than the bearded, men. There's
It's
indistinguishable
an unfair characterization of Russian women, but go ahead.
Well, yes, there's certain, but in Yeti areas, we're not talking about Moscow. We're not talking about another Russian town that I know more names of Russian towns besides Moscow.
Right. Maybe Stalingrad or Leningrad or St. Petersburg.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about Russia. I'm not talking about Florida. It doesn't even get. Whatever. I get caught by a skunk ape in St. Petersburg, Florida. Okay, laugh at me, whatever. But I'm doing all right. But over there, you're so cold, you're so tiny, and they're just drinking their vodka, and it's just alcohol. And this is the animals I'm talking about too. The animals and they're drinking vodka. They're holding up lighters to their mouths and belching flames like Karnov.
Yeah.
Just laughing at your genitals. And honestly, and I know before there's nothing you can do about it. But in this scenario, there's really nothing you can do about it because it is cold, and you know that there's no defending yourself. You can't verbally defend anything. I mean, you can say like, "Well, it's super cold, it's shrinkage," but that, you know what? You know what that garners? More laughter. Yep. So, I just this story horrifies me. It fills me full of fear. I'm gonna have to drink another sip of this Michelob Ultra. It's a superior light beer, 2.6 carbs, 95 calories, just to get to the next story.
Right.
Well, be careful, because this next story is going to take us to Crazy Town.
Oh.
Come, my lady. Come, my lady. Be my butterfly. Come, my lady.
It is 1990s all over again. This is upsetting me. They were from Florida, right? Speaking of skunk apes.
Yeah, Crazy Town, I believe. If they were they were from Florida in the way that like a tree grows, a certain type of botanical tree can only grow in a certain area because of the soil. Yes. Crazy Town could only be formed from the meth enriched white trash.
Right. South of Pensacola, probably.
When you pour Axe body spray in a certain part of where Ponce de Leon was looking for a Crazy Town member will show up.
Right.
So it's not actually from the band Crazy Town. It's from the International Journal of Surgery Case Reports. And this story was given to us by a certain man by the name of Mike Wiebe.
I didn't write this in, but this is a story that I was able to handpick from because I follow the ISCR, and you guys know me. I'm a big amateur surgery guy.
Yeah.
No, that's great. We're doing Mike Spring stories.
Yeah. But yeah, normally I try to keep these stories secret from you and just record your reactions. But in this case,
they're mostly nonverbal. It's unfortunate for the people listening.
Oh, they know.
Lots of gasps, and our eyes get real big.
Oh,
we
just
shake our head. Lots of head shaking, frowning. Maybe like every once in a while we kind of crinkle our foreheads a little bit. Maybe look off. Look up and to the left as we just reflect on the story we've heard. A lot of that.
So, a 3-month-old Kurd boy from Duhok in Iraq was brought to the hospital due to swelling in his scrotum.
Ooh, Duhok man.
due to swelling in his scrotum. However, when he arrived, doctors observed that he had some extra penises, 2 extra to be exact. One of the doctors involved in the study said, "To the best of our knowledge, this is the first reported case with 3 penises or triphallia." The boy's extra phalluses didn't have urethras, so doctors decided to surgically remove them and preemptively ended the boy's possible future as a porn star. While this is the first case of triphallia, diphallia, or 2 penises, is believed to occur in 1 out of every 5 to 6 million baby boys, with the earliest known case reported in 1609.
Side by side or on top of each other?
So one was next to his penis, and then one was under his scrotum.
What?
And the parents didn't notice? It just seems strange to me that you would take to the doctor for an issue involving swelling in their scrotum. So you're aware of that, but it takes the doctor telling you that, oh, hey, there's a couple extra dicks on here. That seems...
You think that this would be a delivery room like, was it what? Hey... I mean, you can see a penis because I don't have kids either. So
if it's not too cold out,
I think maybe that's the one time that a Yeti wouldn't laugh at you.
Right. This might have been the chosen child to defeat the Yeti.
I can show you guys a picture of a man.
I don't want to see a picture of a child.
I'm looking at it right now.
What are you looking at, Michael?
It's a man with 2 penises.
It's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Well,
it's not a woman with 2 penises.
I was ensuring you hadn't stumbled upon children.
Yeah, no, this is for sure a man, and it is shocking and it is disturbing, and I can't unsee it. Do you guys want me to put this in the group chat?
Yeah, let's take a look at what you're seeing that you can't unsee.
Because I've seen this before, and the guy did a Reddit AMA about having 2 penises, and man, it's something. Both apparently are fully functional.
Oh. That's what it would look like.
Yeah, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, that's kind of the thing. It's a side by side. It's not on top of the other,
right?
How would you feel as a teenager if you found out that you were born with 3 dicks and your parents decided to cut off 2 of them?
Yeah. Do you think that he keeps them? Do you get to keep them
like in a jar of formaldehyde? Like,
I mean, you would assume that. I mean, otherwise they're going to get all dried out. And that's not a penis joke. That's just that's science. That's science. That's
right.
A science
When you're preserving
fact.
When you're preserving organic matter, you have to suspend it in something, right, to make sure it doesn't decompose or otherwise corrode. I can tell you're a frequent reader of whatever surgery journal.
The International the International Journal of Surgery Case Reports.
It is an international journey, Kevin, and we're taking everyone on it. Thank you for referencing the international journey.
Yeah, I just want to point out I don't think we had any U.S. stories this week. No, we did not.
Well, we're not really a United States centric
no
podcast.
We're worldwide. We're a bunch of pit bulls because we're Mr. Worldwide.
Not Mr. Worlds.
I don't know, guys. Do you think double dicks? You think you're keeping both?
I'm keeping them.
You're keeping. Kevin's keeping them.
Yeah.
Brian.
So am I? Is the question? Would I go back in time and as a child?
I'm going to put you at age 19. 19.
I had enough going on then that cutting off one of my dicks was going to be incredibly traumatizing and terrifying.
Right.
But having 2 dicks is going to be traumatizing.
Is it an option to combine them into one super penis?
Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that is a good question. That's what I would go. It's like 2 hot dogs, and you cut a line down each of the middle of them, and you spread them out, and then you tie the top, and it just extra. I think
if a doctor could turn my 2 dicks into one super dick.
Oh, we can. I'm not a doctor, but I have been. Right. I have followed the surgery journal for the International Surgery Journal for quite a long time, and I think I would probably like want to put a couple like Quora questions on the on get a couple Ask Jeeves and kind of get in on the do a couple tweets out there just to get a little bit of like, for sure. I would do my research. I would do my due diligence to research it, but I think I could probably turn a side-by-side dicks into one just massive hog.
Right. Well then, sir, I would confidently put myself in your hands.
It's really about sewing some veins and capillaries together, and I think that I could probably do that.
Would it have 2 urethras?
Right. No, I combine those two.
Okay.
Ooh, I would want to maintain the 2 urethras.
That's a little bit harder. Honestly, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a little bit harder. I might have to call in some help on that.
Okay.
But I mean, I'll get on Fiverr. I'll get on Craigslist. I'll find some people that are, down to do some stuff.
Yeah.
Are you doing this in your shed?
No, it's
surgery.
It's surgery.
Come on.
I'll do it in my bathtub.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's gonna be blood everywhere.
Animal. I'm not gonna get like fucking grass and leaves and shit on it.
Right. Just shampoo up my 2 dicks and then slice the sides open and
slice the sides and split them, but don't break them apart. But split them open,
but maintain the integrity of
exactly
the urethra.
The urethras.
Urethra?
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
How do you pluralize? Urethra.
Maybe
it's never. You know what's crazy? It's never been pluralized before because
nobody's
this is
ever
the first time anybody ever has talked about more than one.
Maybe I have 2 penises because I was shot by a urethra.
And what you can do is you can really, in that scenario, you're going to want a very traditionally placed hole, okay? But you're going to want to have fun with that second hole.
Yeah. That's why that's the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can put it right. You obviously can put right on the top. You give yourself a Prince Albert hole. You could put it way back into the side, like on the shaft. Go ahead and put it on the shaft and have that as kind of like a, in case you want to get some extra distance or whatever. You plug that in.
Right.
But I do think that it sounds like our guy from the story that I brought in, the tripod.
Yeah,
I think that his boat, because the guy I showed you, I think both of those bad boys work.
They looked healthy.
And it sounds like our little guy that his probably did not work. But
no, he didn't have. He only had 1 urethra. And it said what the sizes were on the 2 they removed, but it didn't mention. I don't know what a normal. I did not do any research into what a normal baby penis size is, and that's why I'm not in jail right now.
You don't have to announce things like that, Kevin.
We may cut that out.
I think it's more telling when you announce you didn't look at certain things. Then just to let us all assume that you probably didn't look that up. But
I've never tried marijuana.
Right.
I've never watched Stuck in a Dryer porn.
What?
That's how Cher walked in on Sonny and Cher's mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It just sounds false when I like emphatically announce something.
She looks right at the camera and says, "I got you, babe."
I got you, babe.
Were they supposed to be funny in Cher? Was that a comedy?
Yeah,
they had a variety show, but
they did jokes. I mean, they had real songs together, but they did.
Were the jokes funny, or were they like laugh-in jokes?
I haven't watched them since they were on Scooby-Doo.
Those aren't funny.
I think there were a lot of jokes about how he was a lot shorter than her.
Well, that's a premise that will never get old. So before we move off of this story, I do have a question. So if you had multiple appendages, multiple penises, would your sexual pleasure be multiplied by the number of penises, or would it be divided by the number of penises?
Depends on how many, if they have independent nerves, or if the nerves are just divided between them.
It seems like a monkey paw result.
Yeah.
To that wish would be that, you only like sex a third as much.
I don't think anybody ever wished for 2 penises.
Well, not to your knowledge, but surely there's people that would wish for 2.
Like, well, maybe you said
one of us.
Your monkey's paw, I really want more dick, and then it gave you 2 dicks.
I wouldn't phrase it that way.
How would you phrase your desire for more dicks? For more dick?
I wouldn't say I want more dick. I don't. I think I'd be a little more cautious about that wish from the monkey's paw, especially knowing that it's a monkey's paw.
We've read enough in monkey's paw scenario stories to know that you have to really, you're not firing off that tweet real quick without checking your spelling on that.
No. Yeah,
you're gonna
this
no matter what your
road.
monkey's paw wish. Yeah, you're gonna sit there, really think about the phrasing.
I don't know if any of that story's usable. I'm sorry, Mark. Look how angry Mark looks right now.
Yeah, he's fucking
He's
furious.
like, I'm gonna
Furious at us.
have to cut out every story from this.
Right. I'm just hoping that if I sabotage enough, Mark will have to use more of me. And won't be able to cut out as much. That's my.
You should, Brian. I think you should find yourself a country to beholden your make. You should get really popular in a country like I have gotten with Ireland.
You get to claim fucking Ireland, you dick. Why do you think you get to do that?
Because I have Irish heritage.
That is.
I'm one of the few Americans that can claim Irish heritage.
Right. You're one of the only Americans who celebrate St. Patrick's Day with your newfound connection to a land that you probably couldn't even point to on a map.
Speaking of the British Isles, the next story comes to us from the BBC.
Bad Boy Club, second time, right?
Did you know about this about the UK, that the King of England just died recently? I don't know if you guys heard about that.
It was the Queen's husband.
But yeah, the king.
No, he's a prince.
I mean, I'm sure he was a good guy, but
because he didn't come from the bloodline. Only the bloodline can be king or queen.
They're like vampires.
Yeah, that's right.
He did look fairly
vampiric,
of supernatural skeletal powers.
Did you see the weird quote about him where he said he wanted to be reincarnated as a disease to come back and institute population control? It was from 1988.
Like a genetic disease, because I feel like his whole line has helped. Help with that.
And then he died at the age of 99 on the 99th day of the year.
This is all real? Are you really?
Yeah, that's real.
Hey, did you guys know that Kennedy had a secretary named Lincoln?
No.
And Lincoln had a secretary named Kennedy.
Jesus Christ.
Whoa. So in 1965, a 19-year-old homesick Welshman named Brian Robson made the news for airmailing himself to London from Australia in a wooden box. He couldn't afford the airfare, so he had two Irish friends nail him into a crate and ship him home.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Irish.
Hell yeah, those are good fucking dudes.
Good dudes.
Good lads, we would say.
Yeah.
Good mates.
Good mates.
He was supposed to fly directly to London, but his box was diverted on a much slower route through Los Angeles, where he was discovered 5 days after first leaving Australia. The U.S. eventually sent Brian home to London on a passenger plane. But Brian is now 76 and has written a book about his adventure called The Crate Escape.
Isn't his adventure just I was in a box for 5 days?
Yeah. That's we got a guy over here named David Blaine. He does that shit all the fucking time. Okay? And guess what? Brit? He's in a crew called the Pussy Posse. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio, Lucas Haas, inexplicably for some reason, Tobey Maguire, and a couple other guys too. And you know what? And David Blaine, he just goes up and he does that shit on the reg every day in front of people all by himself. It doesn't matter. Guess what? We don't care. It's not a big deal. Put me in a box for a month. I've lived in a goddamn box for a fucking year. It's called the pandemic. Nobody wants to read your pasty British story about, they put me in a box and I rode on the plane. You fly over there and it's just flying around and then you're in the wind and then you lay and then you land on the ground. And then they said, oh no, I don't think so. You want to have to ride back now, aren't you? And I said, well, and then they put me on the plane and I flew back. Jolly good fun.
No, he's Welsh. He's not British.
They're commonly referred to as sheep fuckers by British, much like New Zealanders are commonly referred to that way. I don't know that they actually fuck sheep, but I think that is something that is commonly attributed to those people. Again, not speaking to the veracity of those claims at all, just merely pointing out that people have made that claim about the Welsh and about.
So essentially, like the Welsh are like the people of Arkansas.
In the kidnapping sense or in the sheep fucking sense?
In the sheep fucking sense.
Perhaps.
The way we view people from Arkansas.
Arkansas has a rich history
of sheep fucking, of animal husbandry. In the worst sense of the word. I am not worried about alienating people from Arkansas because they do not own the internet.
Right. I'm just imagining every strategy game you've ever played where you develop a group of people and you can learn the advancement of animal husbandry, and every time you've thought, I don't want my people fucking animals.
Sick.
You just move away from it. I mean, largely responsible for Western Europe's quick advancement was advances in animal husbandry.
Sheep?
I mean, that might have been part of it, but
you can fuck a sheep in Wasteland 3.
That's true, actually.
Can you? I don't know that.
Yeah,
ever. When you go into the brothel, there's a room with an animal in it, and you can pay, and it just goes dark. It goes.
In all the years since he's left Australia, Brian has not contacted the men who boxed him up.
Why does he have your name?
I don't know. Brian's actually an Irish name, so
or Welsh, perhaps.
No, I think it's pretty clearly an Irish name. What's your name? Mike? What is Mike? What is that? Greek?
It's Irish.
Greek? Is it short from Michaelos?
It's Mongolian.
Mongolian, that's right. So do we both have Irish names?
I think St. Kevin was Irish.
This is starting to feel like fate, guys. This is starting to feel real good.
I can't wait to do a live show in Ireland.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they're digging in their couch cushions right now to get us over there.
Us over there,
right?
St. Kevin of Glendalough.
That sounds Irish.
Which is Old Irish.
All right.
County Wicklow, Ireland, specifically.
What was he the patron saint of?
Is an Irish saint known as the founder of the first abbot of Glendalough. He was a hermit. I think he...
This is all checking out, Kevin. He was the patron saint of board games.
He was the patron saint of Blackbirds, the Archdiocese of Dublin, Glendalough, and Kilnamau.
Of Blackbirds?
Blackbirds.
Those Irish sure are grand.
Yeah, we love them.
Mm-hmm. Laying it on thick today, fellas. Laying it on thick.
In all the years since he's left Australia, Brian has not contacted the men who boxed him up. All he remembers is that they were co-workers named Paul and John. He doesn't remember their last names, just that they went to school together back in Ireland, but he doesn't remember where they went to school. All I can tell you is that of his adventure, Brian said, "It was stupidity. If my kids tried it, I would kill them. But it was a different time." And I did the math here, and his kids that he's assuming would try this would be like 50.
Maybe
How did he not die though? That's kind of crazy.
He talked about
Vegemite.
He had a bottle of water, and then he had a bottle to pee in, and he had a little suitcase in the.
I would mix them up.
I think he would, but supposedly when he landed in L.A., they pushed the box over, and he went "ugh" or something, and they're like, "What the fuck is going on?" They opened the box, and he couldn't move because he'd been in that position for so long, and so they had to hospitalize him and give him physical therapy so he could move again. And then at the same time, the FBI and the CIA both interviewed him because they thought he was a Russian agent who somehow shipped himself into America.
Well, It would have worked almost if it weren't for that confusing pee bottle.
If he would have drank more of his piss, he probably wouldn't have had such muscle loss.
Right.
If you drink pee. If you drink your own urine, there's a lot of monks who drink their own urine. The first thing they do in the day is they pee and they drink their first morning's urine. And that's why they are they live to crazy old ages, in their well into their hundreds.
They don't get COVID either.
They don't get COVID. I think that's the only flaw I hear in any of this is that he didn't drink his own pee, because I'm about that piss life. And I have been... I've been guzzling down my own golden nectar for years now, and I've never felt better. Never felt better.
I can tell you that St. Kevin reputedly lived to be 120 years old.
Yeah, drank his own piss.
A lot of piss.
That's why he loved drinking his own orange juice, is what he likes to call it.
And to be clear, Mike, you said you were about that piss life. Is that?
I'm about that piss life, is what I said. Going back a couple stories ago, that's when I would like to have two penises, so I could do double bottling. I could, my own little production line would be going quick because I'm bottling this stuff.
Right.
I live in Austin, Texas, for the listeners, and we have a thriving homespun piss market, and I'm able to make, I call it my side hustle. And that's what it is. Yeah. My side hustle is because it's not just enough to sell it. I also have to, I call it getting piss drunk, but it's really just waking up. It's just really waking myself up first thing in the morning and having something in my system that's going to get me able to feel stretched out. It makes my joints looser. It's funny. I call it vitamin P because that's what it is.
It is. It's all like if you mow a yard, you leave the grass clippings on the yard to feed the yard with the clippings, drinking your own urine.
Exactly.
It makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, we'd like to thank you for listening to the International News Service. If you have any stories like Mike submitted this week that you'd like us to check out, email it to internationalnewspod@gmail.com. And thanks for listening. Check us out next week. And hey, if you enjoyed this podcast, why don't you tell a friend about us?
Just one friend.
Yeah, everybody listening to this, tell one friend. And
an Irish friend.
Possibly an Irish friend.
Or Ukrainian.
Or Ukrainian.
Do you think they're allowed to have friends?
Yeah, they're still allowed to have friends.
The government has to let them. My mom says that they're socialists, and the government decides whether they're allowed to have friends or not.
I don't think they are socialists. I think they're
I don't think they are either, but my mom thinks your mom definitely thinks that they are.
If she doesn't like it, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Right. Your haircut is in the embodiment of socialism.
It is socialist haircut.
That's right. Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Me too. Every week.
To reinforce what Kevin has said, tell a friend about it. Is that where?
Yeah, tell a friend about it.
Don't tell us. Tell your friends.
Well, we're already, our biggest fans.
Well,
not me.
I think this is fueled by a lot of self-loathing. Actually, I think that this is. There's a lot of.
I am not a fan of me. But you know what I am fan of is my own piss. And I'll be honest with you guys, I might take a little trip to Mike's bar in just a minute. Mike's bar's open. 24-hour establishment. Draft only. You know what I'm saying?